Welcome back to Learn with me, Miss Killen here at MPB. We are in our 10th unit. We're looking at Lesson 1, dot plots. Our 10th unit is on statistics with one variable. I can interpret data in a dot plot. We are looking at S-ID.1 and 2. So let's go ahead and dive in and see what we've got. It says, let's learn some new vocabulary. Now, as always with our units, you want to make sure that you're putting all of your vocabulary in the same place, maybe on a vocabulary sheet or on just a sheet of paper, but you do want to keep that vocabulary together because it's extremely important. So let's look at this vocabulary. First, we're looking at the word statistics. Now, statistics is science of when we analyze, collect, and organize data. We're looking at categorical. It means categories like color and size or styles, not by a measurement is how we could look at some type of statistics. The next one we're looking at is quantitative. It means numbers. It's based on some type of measurement. The next one is discrete. There's limits to possible data values. Something we could say is countable. And then we have continuous. Continuous is there's so many possibilities for the data. You must measure over an interval span or a span of time or whatever you're looking at, a broad stroke of how you're going to measure this. So how do we know which one of these is which? I can get the mean average of numerical values. Well, obviously that's going to be quantitative. There's a quantity that we're looking at. If it's numerical, obviously it's quantitative. There is a numerical amount. If different types or categories, well, we just saw that that means categorical. And then if the data is countable, 1, 2, 12, 27, if it's countable, it's going to be quantitative, and it's also going to be discrete. If the data is continuous, if it's uncountable, there's so many possibilities, then we're going to say that's continuous. Obviously, it's quantitative. And then measurements like time or temperature, it's discrete because there's a limitation, and it's quantitative. So another list of helpful vocabulary is a dot plot, and that's what we're really looking at today is dot plot and frequencies. Now when I use a dot plot, I'm using just what I'm talking about. I'm using dots on a number line, and frequency is like if I see it 2 times or if I see it 12 times, that's what it's going to be. So let's get an exact definition of this dot plot. It says on a number line, obviously, with dots to represent each time the number is represented. So then when we look at those numbers being represented, we have to look at the frequency. So I'm counting the data values. So now that we found all of this vocabulary, let's see how all of this new vocabulary is going to help us with some problems. So it says, by using the vocabulary we have learned, let's graph the information from the data, classify the data, and answer some questions. So here we go. A group of FFA students were surveyed about the amount of screen time they had during the summer. All data was collected and hours displayed, the data in a dot plot, and answer the questions. So we're looking at screen time, and these are all the different numbers are the amounts of hours of screen time that the different FFA students had. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the screen time amounts on our dot plot. So let me show you how we're going to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dot. Every time that I see a number, I'm going to put a dot over that amount. All right, so here we go. So I've got 70, so I'm going to put 1. I've got 120. I've got 110. I've got 75. I've got 125. 115. 80. I've got 70. I've got 120. I've got 85. I've got another 75. I've got 125. I've got 90. There's another 80, 70, 95, 85, 75. Oop, there's a 100, 90. Yet again another 75. There's another 80, 105, 110, another 100. Let's see, I've got 90. I've got 95. I've got 105. And I've got 115. So what I've done is I've taken all of my data points and put a dot to represent each time that I saw it, hence the word dot plot. So I have plotted with a dot all of my information or my data. So that's what this is looking like. Okay, so now I can see some things about this dot plot. Let's see. I see that 75 has a good bit on there. Several of them only have 2. I've got a couple that has 3. So I can analyze these dot plots, seeing the information that it's given me. So let's see what else it says. So this is another representation of what we just plotted or graphed. I just put it a little bit more clear because Ms. Killen doesn't write that well. So let's go ahead and answer these questions. So let's see what they say. What do you notice about the shape of this distribution? All right, so let's look at the distribution. I've got 3 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. So I've got a lot of different spread. So I don't necessarily see just one type of shape. I have a multiple spread that necessarily doesn't look even, but it is spread out. So then let's look at number 2. Are there any outliers in this data? So what is an outlier? Remember, an outlier is what we see that's not in our normal distribution, that's kind of laying really out there from what we're normally looking at. That's an outlier. So I really don't see any of those. Is there any data points that the frequency is higher than others? Well, obviously, yes, there is. So I see that this one has a lot more than some of them, and then this one would be medium and medium and medium because those have 3 instead of 2. So I do see some that have higher frequency than others. Now, number 4 asked me, would the data set be considered continuous, would be categorical or quantitative? Well, since we're talking about the screen time of what these students had, we're going to say this is quantitative. So yes, it is quantitative. Then it says number 5, how could we find the mean or average of the data set? And what does mean mean? All right, so obviously our mean is our average. And how have we learned to find our average? We add all of our amounts up and what? We divide by how many there are. So if we went back, we would add all of these blue numbers up, add them all up, and then we would divide by, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So we would add them all up and divide by 30. So go ahead and do that. Add all of these up, these numbers that we have, and divide by 30 and see what you get. What I got is I got 94.1369. So I can say that is my mean, that is my average. So then it says, what is the mode? Now, what is a mode? The mode is the one that we see the most. So if I wrote mode, it has most there. So my mode is my most. And which number do I see the most dots with? 75. Good job. So we've taken a dot plot and we've analyzed it. We've dotted the values and then we've analyzed the data on this dot plot. All right, so now it's time for you to show some mastery. Keithan makes a dot plot to represent the height in inches of every player on his stickball team. And here is the information. Consider the dot plot above. Determine what answers best complete the sentence below. So I've got choice 1, I've got choice 2, and I've got choice 3. And then here is the possible answers for those choices. So what is 60 inches frequency? So what I want you or you and your table partner to go ahead and answer this screen on your paper. Make sure that you're talking about this. Analyze what you see on this dot plot. Work, get what your answer is, and then come back and we'll see what we got. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and read and see if we can figure out which answers would be the best. There are blank players on the stickball team. Well, all I've got to do is count my X's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So there's 19 players. The average height of the team is blank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 50 plus 53 plus 53 plus 55, 58, 58, 58, 60, 60, 63, 63, 65, 65, 65, 65, 66, 66, 69, and 69 together, and then I'm going to get that average. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in real time. So I've got 50. Let me turn my calculator on. 50 plus 53 plus 53 plus 55 plus 58 plus 58 plus 58 plus 60 plus 60 plus 63, 63, 65 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 times. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have 66 plus 66 plus 70 plus 70. Divide by, how many do we say? 19. And I get 61.21. So obviously my choice is not down here, so let's go ahead and write that in. Let's get a color that will show. So I'm going to write my choice at 61.21. Now, obviously, when they looked at this problem and they made it, maybe they said this was 62 or this was 66 and this was 68. So when you come across those assignments or those assessments, you're going to really have to make sure that you're looking at this. Obviously, when you have your assessment or your assignment, the numbers are going to be a little bit more distinctive. Ms. Killen didn't line up quite right, but that's okay. Because we looked at the problem and we came up with an answer, which was 61.21. So there we go. And it says, what is 60 inches frequency? Well, my frequency is what? 2. I see 2 60 X's on my dot plot. So that would be my frequency. Good job. So it says, don't forget, remember what a dot plot is. Remember, I'm taking all those values and I'm using a dot to represent every time I see them. Remember what statistics is. It's that science of analyzing data. Frequency, how many times we see something, and obviously discrete means what? There's limitations. I'm so glad that you came to learn with me today. I am really excited about looking at this Unit 10 of the statistics with one variables. So as always, have a great day.